Wednesday night.
Facebook watch parties are welcome. Live and book fairs.
Ladies and gentlemen, ask the questions, we come up with the answers.
You can come up with the answers. You take the mic out.
15 minutes with DJ Countryman and Rudi Lickwood. Saturday morning mayhem with two entertainment heavyweight. DJ Countryman from the world of music and Rudi Lickwood, veteran on the UK Black Comedy Network. Join them with interviews.
Kick me out.
No, I'm not kicking her out again.
Just encouraging people to follow their dream and take the risk, take a leap of faith.
Go straight in. Could you just tell us what you've been getting up to, please?
So I designed a pair of Air Max boots with a Nike.
Sorry about my beard. I'm gonna go have
Nah, man, you got a good beard, but it look like your forehead soon kiss your neck back. From what I can see here, it look like. Yeah, what am I gonna do? Yeah. You know me, man. I hand the friendship in it because you know how they like their chicken soup and their chicken foot and all. That's where you from.
Keeping it real with Rudi Lickwood. The topical interactive chat show where you may end up being one of the guests with special guests and you the audience. Comedy with Rudi Lickwood. This event is brought to you by Comedy Hotspot. Don't forget, keeping it real with Rudi Lickwood. This is an 18 certificate only.
Well, hello, good evening. Welcome to Keeping It Real with me. I even had time to have a shave. I know it's disgusting, but I've got some fabulous acts. I say acts like I'm doing stand up. I'm not doing stand up. I'm actually got on a different hat today. Well, it's the same hat that you guys normally see me in, right? But when I say I've got a different hat, it's my interviewer's hat I've got on. Because I've got one of my closest friends gonna interview. He's been giving me a hard time, people. You just don't know. You just don't know. But it's nice to see that we've got a nice packed room. I hope you're gonna have plenty of questions for my guests. All right. If you have a question, please do not hesitate to put it in the comment section. Okay. Rants and Bants crew, you know what we're dealing with here. This show really is based around the Rants and the Bants crew, and we now and again we invite the odd celebrity to come along and have a chat. The only thing is that the odd celebrity that we're having today, well, he's part of the Anything Goes panel, so we've been very fortunate in getting him. But I don't want to waste no time because I think this evening it's going to be quite packed. There's a lot of information that's going to be coming out. And as you know, I always like to introduce my guests in my own little way. So before I bring them on, please, let's have a look at them.
So I
made a little mistake there, didn't I? You see, that just goes to show either I'm feeling tired or I'm not sure what's going on here. But give us a sec. Where's it gone? There's so much I got on here today. Where's Peter? Here we go. Let's have a look. Well. Hello, Carol. How you doing?
I'm fine, Ruth. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, actually. You notice that I put the word Kaz down there as opposed to Carol.
I did indeed. You took your time, but you got there in the end.
I always get there in the end, you know. It takes me a little while, but eventually I get there. You know what I mean?
You do. Evening, Rants and Bants crew.
Oh, they're in the room. Trust me, they are so in the room. It's ridiculous. I'm telling you. I'll give you a chance to say hi to them, because I know you're going to see some familiar names up there.
Hey, Spice.
Going to see some familiar names up there.
Oh, Ali Cat. Hey, Sister Karen. Oh, thank you all.
Goodness.
Thank you for joining us.
Look, somebody
Hey,
said
Denise.
saying that you're looking stunning. You're looking stunning, girl.
You know,
Yeah, saying that you're looking stunning, and I must admit you are quite stunning actually. There's no ifs or buts about that one. Very, very, very stunning. You know.
bless you.
And the thing is that I've spent so much time. I haven't. I mean, I've been on people's pages before, but going on your pages is something else, man. I swear to God. And to even get to begin beginning to talk to you, I think you have to go to the beginning. I think it's so important to go to the beginning. And
okay.
this is how I want to start off your interview.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
What's going on Facebook? Outfit, Alpha Century.
Forever, my darling, our love will be true.
Oh.
So, oh yeah, that was lovely.
It was because what I've kind of like learnt about you is that love is in the air wherever you go. It just seems to be surrounding you, and
It's good to love.
it is. But you'd be amazed.
I love to love. That's one of my favorite songs. I love to love, Tina Charles.
Is that one of your favorite songs?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Much to a lot of my friends discuss, because I put that on my 45th birthday CD, and I think it's the record that got trashed the most. But it was my CD, and it was my birthday, and it's one of my favorite tunes.
Yeah. Okay. Because it starts with mum and dad. Look at that. Even at that age, look at that.
So that was when they was going home in February. They was going back to Jamaica in February. So that was at the airport.
Okay. So when did your parents actually come to this country?
So my mum was 10 when she came, and my dad was 13.
They were quite young then.
Yeah.
They were quite young. Because your dad's been through quite a few transformations, hasn't he?
But still handsome. Look at him.
Oh, there's no question about whether or not he was handsome or not. He was without a shadow of a doubt. He was a very, very handsome man. In
Gorgeous.
fact, him coming like a bad boy. He got his cigarette in the hand. He got his right foot out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coming across.
Absolutely stunning couple, definitely.
He's what I call the grip generation.
Rude why?
That's what I'm saying. Because that when you see that grip, you know that they came over in the 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember playing in the grip as a child.
That's right.
We used to play.
Hide and seek.
Once I got locked in the grip. Can you believe that? Yeah, my brothers and sisters used to feed me carnation milk through the locks.
Oh gosh. That would be classed as abuse now, isn't it?
I guess that. Well, we played some dangerous games when we were kids. I mean, we didn't even know about. There was no such things as seat belts in the back of the seat. Do you remember when your dad would just toss you around in the back of the car, and there'd be cigarette smoke everywhere. You could smoke on the back of a bus. You could smoke in the back of a car. You could smoke on a train. You could smoke anywhere you wanted to. You know what I mean?
I was talking about this seatbelt thing the other day, because I was saying that there was 5 kids in the back of a Mini. Yes, my dad drove a Mini, and I was the one that was always pushing myself up at the front. So literally, I was sitting on the handbrake.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then the beauty is we used to have these long seats, so there was never that hump in the middle. Do you remember? There's like nowadays thing in the middle. Whereas before you could just sit. That's why you can fit so much people in the back of the seat. Do you know what I mean? Look at that. Leslie's still keeping score. 1-1. They're drawing at the moment. Thanks for letting me know, bruv. Thanks for letting me know. I do appreciate that. So your parents came over in the 60s, yeah? And where did they move to?
Dulwich. So my mum kind of travelled around a bit because my mum came here for a year and then went back home and then came back and lived in Birmingham and then came to London. So my mum's journey was a little bit different to Daddy's. But yeah, Daddy lived in around Dulwich really.
Okay, so he never actually sent for your mum then?
No. They met when they were here.
Oh, lovely. Because I mean, it was like my old man. He actually sent for my mum. You get what I mean?
So they met from So my dad's sister, Auntie Merkel, and they live in Catford. They knew each other from back home.
Okay.
But no, my mum and dad didn't.
So both your parents are Jamaican then?
They both are Jamaican, yeah.
Oh, never mind. It's okay.
About never mind. Chat about.
Never mind. It's okay, man. You know
Puppy nice.
It's okay. Look at that. Look at Trevor. Trevor busting the flag straight away.
Hey, Trevor. You done know, Trev.
Trevor's always busting out the thing.
That's
you know what
right.
I mean? So, in conversation with you, you said that you lived in quite a big house, if I'm correct.
Yeah. So when my parents came here, or when they got together, actually, when my mum and dad was pregnant with their first child, they rented a room down in Dulwich in Pellet Road, and that family then became our adopted family. So, so the woman of the house became my grandma. She was Tanti, and the daughter, who was only 9 years at the time, Roselle, automatically became my mum's daughter, and then became big sister to the 5 children that came. Sadly, we lost her last year.
So this is whoops, no. I've actually got an image of Roselle, and before she passed. Is this the young lady?
Yes, yeah, Roselle.
Okay. She's got some stunning photographs, by the way.
She has indeed.
Absolutely stunning.
She was a proper looker, trust me.
I know.
I wanted to be her.
Well, you couldn't, man. How could you be? There's no way. There's no way. How could you be? Look at that little drinks cabinet behind you. That's where we used to have all them little whiskey bottles and stuff like that, isn't it?
And all that coloured glass.
It was beautiful back then because everything was kind of like multi-coloured. There was all these different colours, isn't it? You know, and that's you again. You grew up quite a happy child, actually. But did you actually go? Who's that there with you?
That's Roselle.
There you go.
That's in Brenchley Gardens. That is.
Oh, okay. You can see it's like this is one of your earliest photographs. You're standing still, like in the black and white shots. That
like a soldier.
Yeah, stand up like a soldier. Like, oh no, don't move. Taking a picture now. Hold on. Yeah. But the thing is, when you're ready for cut loose, you cut loose, though, isn't it? Look at you.
Oh yes, that was my first weekender.
Okay, where did you go? Do you remember where you went?
Yeah, that was Great Yarmouth. No, tell a lie. Tell a lie. It wasn't. It was Dorset.
Dorset.
It's Dorset.
So that's when you sort of got out there. I see.
Chicken foot about.
So was you doing the funky chicken at the time? It looks like it's.
I think we was just posing for the. For the camera there, actually. But yeah, probably reggae was on. We was bubbling.
Okay, so that's you posing back in the day.
Yeah, that's me and my first cousin Hazel.
Okay, because I must admit, I could see that your posing improved as you got older.
Oh dear.
Your posing actually improved. Gets a lot better. Yeah, that's right, Julie. She's standing like a soldier. Avril's popped in the room. She's saying good evening.
Hey, Avril.
Hazel on your first weekend.
Oh,
somebody
yes.
Somebody actually seems to be reminding you. Who's
Yeah,
Marcus?
that's my brother. That's my brother. Hey, hey,
that
Smokey. His
That's
name's
Marcus.
Smokey.
Smokey. Hold on a
Yeah.
second. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do something very, very quickly here. Because
Oh, you remember Mark?
yes. And what I want to do is I want to because yes, as soon as I can pick him out, well, I'm gonna get this. It's called multitasking at the moment, dear.
It
You know
is,
what I mean?
and we know men are not good at this. We know this. We know this.
I reckon we're really good at multitasking, us men.
Yeah,
You'd be
maybe
surprised at what we can do while watching the football and
sitting on the toilet and reading the newspaper. Yeah,
yeah. That's three things.
there you go.
That's three things. I find that women struggle when it comes to multitasking. If I'm
please.
totally honest.
Oh, please.
Oh, come on, let's keep it real. Yeah, I think women struggle, right? I mean, I asked Jenny to sit down, get me something to eat, and don't talk to me, and she couldn't do any of those things. Right? So to say that us men are terrible at multitasking is not exactly true. It's not exactly true. I think we're really, really good at it. But I want to get up a picture of Mark, your brother. I mean, just the way that he was. I can find him. Hold on, I'm going to find him. I'm going to find him if it's the last thing that I do.
I literally just spoke to him just before we came on air. Actually,
is it? So how old is Mark?
Mark is I'm 750, 52. 52 just turned.
Oh, so he's still quite young, really.
Yeah.
He's still quite young. He's still
young.
It's what we call a little bit. It's what we call it. But he's a extremely handsome young man. I've got to give him that much.
Yes, he is indeed.
Take
after me, Papa.
Well, all of you lot seem to be taking up. Your family seems to be taking after your mum and your dad, who deserves a lot of credit. In all honesty, for the way that you guys have all turned out. You know, because like when my parents they split up when I was young. When I was a young kid. You know what I mean? They didn't last. They didn't last.
It happens. It happens, babe.
Yeah. But the thing is that we're constantly told that you know, when it comes to Afro-Caribbean relationships, they don't really work. And I think you guys seem to have broke the mold when it comes to that. You're living proof. You're living proof that role models are in actual fact directly under your nose. Instead of TV stars and all that kind of stuff, you know. This is the image I wanted. That's the image. Boom.
Oh wow!
Check out the trousers. Check out the shoes. Check out the shirts. You know what I mean? That is what you call a back in the day shot.
That was one of the many parties that we had in our house in Nunhead growing up.
Okay. That is what you call a back in the day shot. Because I remember my trousers used to fit me like that. You know what I mean? And you'd have your little belt and thing and your shirt. You know what I mean? And look at your booties, man. Oh my! I remember those boots. They turned them into huggies. Remember the hugs, the things that you used to mash up. They weren't built to last.
Mark's probably smiling at that now.
Is it? So have I made his day? Have I made his day by introducing him to you? So tell us, Deb. So what was you like at school? What was you like as a young lady?
At school? Mouthy, I suppose. I worked hard though. I was a good girl at school. I was quite good. Didn't get into any trouble. I was always scared of trouble. Still am scared of trouble. Don't like getting into trouble. But yeah, loads. So I went to an all-girls school, and my girlfriends all knew that I had 4 brothers. So yeah, so they a lot of girls like that.
What, they felt safe? They felt
And
that if they hung around with you, they'd be safe because no one's going to mess about with them.
And also my brothers used to come up to school a lot as well. So yeah, so they got a lot of attention as well. Yeah, no, I was a good girl.
That's why the girls liked you, because they had access to boys.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you went. You see, I mean, you look like you went to a mixed ability school there. Not mixed ability school, but mixed culturally. Lots of different races.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was in the Annerley, but that was a quite far away from where I lived. But yeah, I mean, black, white, green, and blues. It was all there.
No, there's no such thing as blue, darling. There's no. If you're blue, you're sick. It means that you've swallowed domestos or something like that. There's no blue. There's no blue. There's no blue here. So once you left school, then what did you do?
Went to college for a year. Took some more O levels, as they were called back then, and then worked in a bank for a few years, and then started on my career in recruitment, which is what I do now.
Yeah, but I thought you went to a private school.
No, I didn't go to a private school, but I did get an offer of a place in a private school.
Why did you take it?
Well, to be fair, to be frank, quite frankly, because when I did my initiation days, there was only one Asian boy there, and I just absolutely hated it. I hated it. And I knew it was a good school, and my teachers in my primary school, they tutored me to get through, the exams and stuff. So I suppose in a way I felt like I'd let them down and stuff by not wanting to go. But do you know what? My mum was brilliant. I said I didn't want to go, and she was fine about it. But it meant that we then had to scramble around for a decent school for me to go to, because back then, you were taken in. Your intake was on ability, and they would let you in, a certain amount of grade 1s, 2s, and 3s. And so by the time we made the decision that I wasn't taking the place, there wasn't any more grade 1 places in Southwark, which is where I lived. So so I ended up going to a school in Bromley.
So that means you had to catch bus and do all that all by yourself. Yeah, did you go by yourself?
Yeah, I went on my own. Yeah, I was the only one. Started day 1 on my own. Yeah, so all my friends from school were all new friends, and so that was a different transition.
Yeah, because that's the beginning of independence in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're stepping out by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas I remember with my kids, it was like, no, sir, me right that's on next to them.
But it's different times then, because even though I got on a bus on my own, all that journey, and came back on my own and stuff, and walked to the bus stop on my own and back. It was different times. We're living in different times then. So yeah, much safer. So
what I liked when you mentioned, because you spoke to me earlier on about the job that you actually do, which is recruitment. Yeah, but you're a specialist in a sense, aren't you?
Well, I run a diversity recruitment agency. So the aim of what we do, and we're part of a bigger charity.
Right.
So the aim of what we do in the agency is challenge corporates to take on young Black talent. That's basically what we do. And in the city and in Canary Wharf, that's a challenge in itself, because there aren't a lot of people walking into those shiny buildings that look like us. But actually, there's an awful lot of talent out there. And once you come up with the talent, then it speaks for itself. So, we've been moderately successful. There's a long way to go.
Right.
But we're going to keep going. But my parent company, the charity, they've been championing diversity and inclusion and race equality for 30 years in East London. And we run a number of young Black men programs. And I'm sorry, I forgot to send you what you asked before. But yeah, we run a number of young Black men programs specifically to really, bridge the gap between young Black men achieving, you know, their career aspirations, getting into the jobs that they deserve, not just want, but actually deserve, more importantly. But also just giving them the skills that they need to navigate some of those jobs and some of those roles and all of the hurdles that the corporates sometimes put ahead, you know, in front of them to kind of trip them up so that they don't get in. We're there to kind of help to, you know, soften that blow, give them the right interventions, ensure that they've got.
That's the thing is I figured that's what was missing when we were growing up in terms of people along the career path to help us through, if you follow what I mean, because like we could send in an application for something, right? And they could look at your name, and obviously a lot of Caribbean people have biblical names, yeah, and plus we got borrowed names or get names that was forced on us. So the application is always accepted, and then when you go to the interview, la mercy, when they see you walk through the door, they're like, la mercy, we've got a person specification here, and you don't quite fit the person specification. Of course you do, Sal, but the person specifications, you're quite fit here. Yeah, which could be quite disheartening, because I know that there's a lot of white collar workers who are watching the show, and I know that there are a lot of mums who mums and dads who have aspirations for their children. Yeah, and as a recruitment consultant, what sort of advice would you give to them when it comes to recruiting and when it comes to picking a university, etc.? What sort of things should they be considering?
So the first thing I'm going to say is there's an old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah. So the first thing I will say is use your village that's around you. You know, when I was growing up, when I was in primary school, I used to go to Saturday school, and, you know, my mum especially wanted me and my younger brother, you know, to have that edge. She knew that we were bright, and she wanted us to, you know, to get the best crack of the whip. There's loads of interventions that are out there. You know, you've got the 100 Black Men of London. My son's a mentee on that program, but you've got Manhood Academy. There are loads of organizations wanting to support young Black men and young Black women. And I think, you know, as parents, we need to tap into those, because there's a lot of experience, there's a lot of knowledge within those organizations, and a lot of the people that run those organizations are giving of their own time. They've got full-time jobs. A lot of them work in commercial business and corporate business, and they want to give their time so that they can help the kids along. So, you know, take your kids to some of these places. Expose them to it. When it comes to universities, I would say, you know, I personally, you know, because I work in graduate recruitment and I see how hard it is for some kids to navigate their careers, and they think that because they've got a degree, they're going to get a good job. That's not necessarily the case. Unfortunately, it should be, but unfortunately, it's not the case, especially when you look like us. So if you're going to go to university, try and go to the best universities. Try and get your child into a Russell Group university, because it's very, very sad, but it really does matter.
It's the old, what's it, the tie thing, isn't it? The network thing. It's like a status symbol. I mean, is there a list of Russell universities that just falls off your tongue?
Yes. Yeah. There's a list of Russell Group universities, and we've got some in London, but, you know, you've got Birmingham, you've got Nottingham, you've got Bath. You know, there's loads of them that are out there, and there's a lot more opportunity now. There are a lot more kids getting into Russell Group universities. I mean, you've got the Stormzy scholarships, etc., getting you into Oxford and Cambridge, but there are a lot more Black boys and girls going to Russell Group universities. So, you know, if your kids are bright, then and they want to go university, let them go to a Russell Group university. But look at the league tables, because it really does matter. it really disheartens me, because I personally believe that if you've got a degree, then you've already achieved. I don't have a degree. It's
Neither
never
do I,
stopped.
but it depends what type of degree you've got, doesn't it? Because there was loads of kids who were doing degrees, media or something like that, that was irrelevant. It didn't matter. It's like, yeah, you got a bit of paper, but they couldn't use those skills.
Well, you see, and this is what I mean. See, for me personally, what I would say is, if you're going into a career that requires a degree, doctor, lawyer, architect, even, then yes, you need a degree. But you see, now there are so many amazing apprenticeships now where you can go, you can get into decent organizations, the same corporate companies, you know, that you think you want to go and work in, the great big shiny companies, the Barclays of the world, the JP Morgans of the world. But they've got amazing apprenticeship schemes where you can work, you can earn, and you can still get a degree in 4 years' time and have no debt. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah, but it's only a no-brainer when you've got that kind of information to give out.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's some mothers and fathers who are doing 9 till 5 and they don't have the time. Not that they're lazy, you know what I mean, to do the necessary research sometimes. And that's why it's so important that people like yourselves are now putting themselves in the positions that you're in, because it's not like you're just a consultant, are you? You're an actual manager, if I'm correct.
I've been a manager for over 20 years, babes.
Sorry, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Yeah, you say that, but you got to remember there's loads of people who don't there's loads of people who don't know that. And it's quite clear that through you being a manager for 20 odd years, you're a very independent young lady. I can sense that. But even behind, I don't care what you girls think, right? Rants and Bants, you shut up. Even behind every strong woman, right? There has to be a rock. There has to be a rock. There has to be a rock. Yes? That's your rock. And the thing about...
That is my rock.
That's Carlos, yeah? Is that, have I got the name correct?
You have?
Yes, Carlos. And I don't know if anybody's ever been on Kaz's page, yeah? But most of the pictures that you see of these two, it's almost like they want to kiss all the time. I'm like, stop it, man. What's wrong with you two? What is wrong with you two? You two just, it's like you're always wrapped up with one another. Yeah. And I sense that is because there's, like I said, there's a lot of love in your house. I really do sense that.
Well, I hope so.
Well, it's like I said, it's there to be seen, isn't it? It's there to be seen. I mean, there you are again, right? Here you are with your mum. Yeah. Here you are with your dad. Yeah. Here you are with your son and dad. There's every other picture is a kissy picture, right? Because when I think of when I started studying Black history and stuff like that, there wasn't a lot of affection shown amongst the Caribbean communities, because we were frightened of the fact that if the Massa saw that we cared, they split us up. So we had this tendency to not show emotion, whereas in your family you all show emotion.
We're a very tactile family, definitely. And actually, I remember, you know, when Carlos came into the family and saw things like, you know, me and my mum and dad still kissing on lips and you know, and I think that was a bit of a surprise to him, but that's how we've always been, and
well,
that's how we will always be.
He's like, he's oozing it up. It's like, oh my God. He's like, oh my God, what's going on here? What is going on here? I'm telling you, it was really lovely to watch, to go through and see. It might sound a bit crazy, but you know, I mean, in my household was not a touchy-feely kind of like household. And there's lots of households that I do go into, and you know, it's very rare that you would see the husband walk past the wife and just touch her bottom. You know what I mean? Just give her a little scrape, give her a little, you know what I mean? So to see that, is, and I also guess it's because we never saw much of it on TV. You know.
Yeah.
So how long were you and Carlos dating? Because I believe from the conversation, it wasn't too long, was it?
My son's watching this.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it in a bad way, because I mean, I mean, what was it? 2 years? What was it? And then pops. What happened there?
No. We got pregnant quite quickly, and
Yes.
and well, we've been together 16 years, and my son is
Ooh,
15. So
lovely.
do the math.
Yeah. See, you was in love straight away, weren't you, girl? There's nothing wrong with it. It's not wrong with it. I know it. That's what I say. When you start talking about emotional stuff and feelings and that, it does tend to get a bit tendery. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is that when Jacob came into the house,
Look.
I know when Jacob came in, Granddad found a spring in his step, didn't he? All of a sudden, he found somebody to play football with. He's up and he's about. He's running and he's doing his thing. And this happens to be. This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite pictures. This picture, believe it or not.
Oh.
It really is, because it's like he's paying homage to your mum for having you. That's a beautiful shot.
They've got a lovely relationship, Carlos and my mum. Really lovely relationship. But Carlos is just like the fifth son. You know, there's no in-law at all. My mum never calls him son-in-law ever.
Okay. And then looking, that's what I'm saying. It's just from looking at it, it's like, bam, look at that. It's like, look how happy your son is. Look how happy you are, and he's there as the man. And I kind of like sense that, and I see that same face again here, right? And let me take this out of the way. Hold on, let me take this out of the way. It's that same face. You're right in the corner there, at the bottom corner there, right? And I see his little face, right? And it's the same sort of happiness that I'm seeing. And he's so fortunate because he's got his granddad as well.
Yeah, he really has.
You know, there are so many people who don't grow up with their grandparents around.
It's so important. I remind him all the time how blessed he is that he's got both sets of grandparents, actually, not just one. He's got both sets of grandparents. So yeah, he's very, very lucky.
Yeah. And when you're a boy child of that age, and you're seeing a lot of affection and you're seeing a lot of emotion, it rounds you. It actually gives you that sense of being rounded, you know. And when you've got your role model right there, bam, no mess about, he's there. He's there. Do you know what I mean? But then the other thing that I liked was the fact that you guys spend time alone as well. I sense that too.
Yeah, no, definitely. We've we I suppose when we met, you know, I most definitely had my own friendship groups, and you know, and they've continued to blossom, and I've got new friendship groups, and I think it's important for both of us, actually, in terms of being true to ourselves and for our own sanity, to be able to have you know, that separatism where we can, you know, be with our mates and just be with no fear of the other one being jealous or there being any mistrust or anything like that. So yeah, it's important to both of us. You know, he goes on holiday with his mates, I go on holiday with my mates, and we do separate things as well as doing stuff together. And yeah, most definitely, it keeps us sane.
I sense that, because I like watching memes. When I go on people's page, I look at the memes as well. And this is one of yours. This is one of yours that you've got on your page, which is about friendship, friends, fight for you, respect you, I include you, encourage you, need you, deserve you, and stand by you. You know, so when you talk about having different friendship groups, you know, I can see that you're one for living life, and not one for letting COVID get in the way, because this is when you lot was doing your yoga thing. This is when you lot do your yoga thing. This is when everybody was told about social distancing. Social distancing. What, would you have it? Nah. Look at them with their legs up in the air. You know what I mean?
Well, we was 2 meters apart, weren't we?
Yeast infection all over the place.
Oh, stop it.
No, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop.
These are my schoolmates. Those are my schoolmates.
Are those your schoolmates? Your chums?
Yeah.
See, and once again, it's all touchy-feely. That's how it is with you. That's how it is with you. And look, here's the reflection. Bam.
Yeah.
It's showing itself in your son.
Yeah.
You know, you believe it or not. That's why I'm saying that's why I had to start off with your mum and dad, because I'm like, where did that come from? I know it's on Carlos's side as well, but I haven't got images of Carlos's family. But I'm taking that from what I see, because I'm asking myself, what made you? Why are you the way you are? And I just keep coming back to your parents. Look how comfortable he is. Look at that. Look how Nana rough him up. Nana just a rough him up. You know? Nana easy at all. Nana easy at all. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, you do spend quite a bit of time going away, because you went off for your birthday, if I'm correct.
So my birthday was actually in April, Rudy, but in September we were due to go to Gibraltar, but this COVID rubbish put paid to that, so we kind of changed it to a staycation, and so we went away. We hired this amazing property in Tunbridge Wells, and we just, for 4 nights, I think it was, did
bloody cats, man. They were cats. They were cats in the house. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I was like,
So what happened? My sister-in-law bought me a beautiful cake topper that said 50th and blessed, and I was like, well, I've got to use the cake topper in my 50th year, so that's why I made sure I had a cake for that weekend, and I used my cake topper. Thanks, Ange.
Your cake topper, is that what you call it? Your
cake topper. My cake topper.
Because there's a comment that you consistently make, especially when you say good morning, or I get a chance to say something to you directly, and let me see if I can find it here.
Hey, Sugar.
Is Sugar in the room as well? Yeah.
Sugar's in the room.
Excellent.
Hey Jay, I saw you earlier as well. Welcome.
Yeah, what you constantly say is, I'm blessed.
I am blessed.
Yeah. You constantly say, I am blessed.
I am blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed. And I lay my head to rest every day of my life.
I had to cut that one short. I said, if I don't cut that short, everyone's going to get up and start rave. And then that's supposed to be raving right about that. It's not meant to be happening. It's not meant to be happening. It's not meant to be happening. So I said, let me just cut that short, you know? Because here's another one of your memes. Life is a blessing, so embrace every moment. Make each day count, as tomorrow is never promised to none. So be humble, be positive, and love to the highest frequency possible. I thought that was so beautiful, because this is how it's reflected itself from your mum, from you and Carlos, into your son. It was wonderful talking to you, Kaz.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And the thing is, what people I want people to understand, and what I want them to know is this: with all of that going on, you have glaucoma.
I
that correct?
do, yes. Yeah.
And could you explain what that is?
So I suppose in a nutshell, it's the erosion of your optic nerve. And you know, your optic nerve, you need your optic nerve in order for your vision to stay intact. And the more it erodes, then in essence, the bigger chance it is that you become blind.
Yeah. And despite that, I mean, a bit like Claire Tong in a way. Despite that, you've actually set up something of your own, if I'm correct. When it comes to let me see, what did I write down here? Young Black Man Program.
Oh, so that's kind of going back to
Yes, but what I want
the
people
work
to
thing.
understand, what I want people to understand is, despite having a disability or thinking that you may have a disability, it doesn't stop you from doing anything.
No, but that's my 9 to 5. That's my day job. So that's still part of the bigger program that my parent company, Elba, runs. And as I said earlier, they run, you know, a number of programs for young Black men. But yeah, I mean, you know, my day job is recruitment. When we kind of won, you know, the bid to deliver that program, I was really, really interested. I've got a young Black man myself. And yeah, we've all got to do our bit because we know that they're the most disadvantaged group. We know that they suffer race equality. We know that they get stopped and searched more than everybody else. We know that they get you know, they get excluded from schools. We know they end up in PRUs, and then the next destination is prison. So you know what? We've all got to do our bit. We all have to do our bit to uplift our young Black men and give them the hope that they deserve.
And that's why I am so glad that you are part of the Rants and the Bants crew, because sometimes it makes me think to myself, maybe I'm just running my mouth and forcing my own opinions on people. But when I come across somebody like you, it's like there are a lot Black British youth who are born here who are thinking the same way. And like Trevor's saying, it's like enough respect to you, Carolyn, and your family, because you've shown that there's a lot of family love out there, even though we might not see it on the mainstream press or the mainstream media, but it is there. And that's why I think it's so important to have talks with people like yourself who don't think they're worth talking about. But as you can see from the response that we're getting in the room, you're so wrong. Everybody has a story to tell. So thank you for your time, dear.
Thank you. Thanks,
Much
everyone. Thanks for
appreciated.
joining us.
And I will have to slide you into the green
No
room.
problem.
Whoa, what can I say? What can I say? That was a little bit longer than I expected, but the reason for that is because I had so much that I wanted to show you, because sometimes they say pictures speak louder than words. And in this case, I think without a shadow of a doubt, the images were just as powerful as the things that was coming out of Kaz's mouth. And more importantly, I like the fact that the job that she does is one that actually gives back to the community. It's not that selfish mentality that we grew up with when it came to Margaret Thatcher, who told us to think about self. It was like, get on your bike and think about yourself. She's got a strong Black man behind her. She's got a loving family behind her, and it's life is what you create, you know. And it was by no accident that it was created, because it all came from two people who came from the Caribbean and showed love and expressed what love can be, and it showed in their grandchild. It really does pass down, and it kind of tells us just how important a role that we play as parents. Now let's forget about Kaz. I love her. Carlos, not in that kind of a way, okay? But I do love the nature of what Carol is about. The next gentleman I want to bring on is one of the closest people to me. He's because he's somebody who's normally behind the scenes. He's not the kind of character who would ever push himself forward. And I guess there's a number of reasons for that, which hopefully he'll talk about. But before I actually, I know that some of you know who he is. Before I get going, but I always like to introduce people in my own way. So let me find his clip and then introduce you to him. Peter Terry. How you doing, Peter?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. As you can see, I'm
bro?
a picture man.
No, you're not a picture man. That's the thing about you. You've never been one for showing pictures, or even, I would say, exposing yourself, if that's a fair thing to say. I mean, it's crazy to think that you had locks. What happened to them, Peter?
Yes, I had to cut them off because personally, I felt it was not helping me. No disrespect to anyone with dreads or whatever, but I remember even one time I actually got a comment from Nearest Joseph, who said to me, "Boy, you're a fake dread," because I know Nearest quite well, and basically it just made me in what I was doing at the time. I didn't feel I was striving any forward back in the day, so I just decided to cut them off. And
yeah, because I remember when you had locks and they were quite long. It was thick as well.
They were
thick and matted. They weren't matted, right?
They were hard to keep, but I had to keep them well. Otherwise, it just doesn't look right, you know. So that's the reason why I felt, you know, I come out of being the fake Jamaican, because I wasn't actually. I was just more of a funky look. It was to me. I never was proving myself to be a Rastafarian. I just love locks.
But then remember Jazzy B, when Jazzy B and what's their names came out?
Karen Wheeler.
Yeah, remember them lot when them lot came out, and they brought a different style and everything, and part of that was the funky dread, the funky locks, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Alison's Antigua says, "Hey Peter, good to see the calmer side of you, as countryman's nowhere to be seen."
Thank you, Antigua. Thank you.
Yeah. And Denise has gone straight in there, but with stop it, because they know it's going to be fireworks tomorrow. They know it's going to be fireworks. So tell me something, Peter. Who is Peter Terry? Because what people don't really know is everybody knows of the DJ Peter Terry. The DJ Peter Terry has been around for years and years and years, but nobody really knows where Peter Terry came from. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Peter Terry was one of 3 children. I was the 4th one. There's 4 of us. I've got 2 brothers. I've got 1 sister who's a twin to my older brother. And basically, we didn't have a good upbringing. We had actually a terrible upbringing. We were brought up where I was actually abandoned at 2 years of age, and I was put into children's homes backwards and forwards. My mum, I didn't really get on with my mum at all. She was not a role model, but then again, she had her problems as well, which I understand now at an older age. She had her issues. But we never got on because we were both fireheads, and I felt I was the one always being picked on, which made me a little bit rampant. It made me a little bit naughty. Me and my brothers, we've done a little shoplifting. We've done some naughty things. I'm not even going to lie.
Everybody used to pop into Woolworths. You weren't the only one. You know what I mean?
We actually used to rob. We robbed Treeport's Sweet Factory in East London. People will know that we used to sneak in there and take the sweets, and you know, truancy from school and stuff like that. So it got to a stage, because when I say in and out of children's zones, backwards and forwards, one time I was with my mum, next thing I was in children's zone. But there was one particular time where my brothers and myself were going through such a bad time. We used to have to line up to get beatings, and I'm talking serious beatings. And I decided, because I've been in so many children's homes before, I decided, let's run away. So me and my brothers, we got out of the window, got down the drain pipe, and we ran away to one of the children's zones, which I knew one of the staff very well, got on really real with him. His name was Jake. And we went to go and visit. And as we went to go and visit, we went to just go as normal guests. Hi, Jake, how are you? Meet my brothers, blah, blah, blah. And we stayed there for the whole day till it was time to kick out. When we left, we realized there was nowhere else to sleep. We couldn't go home. So at the bottom where I was, there was garages. So we roughed it in there. And overnight roughing it in there, we decided, now let's go back again. And, you know, because we got fed, we had a lovely day, and we thought to ourselves, you know what, this is what we got to do for now. So we kept visiting the children's home. Jake started getting a little bit weary because he noticed we kept coming back. So anyway, my brother said, like, Pete, we can't stay down at the garages no more. We just cannot stay there. Come on, you must tell him. So I went over to Jake and I said, Jake was just about to kick us out. And I said, Drake, I just got to tell you something. And he said, what's that, Peter? And I said, we've run away from home. So he knows my situation. So he said to me, you know what, stay tonight and we'll call social services in the morning. So in the morning now came, we got up and whatever, social services came, and then we were taken out, we were under an 18-year care order. This was, I think we were about 6 or something at this age here now. So we went into children's zones. We were all separated. But I was a little bit, you know, one of the naughtiest ones. And I ended up, after a few children's homes and stuff, I wasn't controllable. So they ended up putting me in boarding school. So I went into boarding school for misbehaved children, disruptive children. And I'll never forget, in my boarding school, because I thought I was it, I'd go in this boarding school, and it's one of them boarding schools. The person who owned it was an ex-boxer. He wasn't into pulling hair, scratching. You basically have to get gloves on, and if you did naughtiness, you'd get in a room with a load of other kids and you just watch like a boxing match. That was the punishment. So you'd have to get the gloves on. But when you go there, you have 2 weeks to settle in and nobody can touch you. And within these 2 weeks I was there, I was a bit of a loudmouth, because don't forget I was disruptive. So I wasn't scared of anybody, and I was running my mouth up. The second week I was there, don't forget, you're not allowed to touch the individual, the newcomer, for 2 weeks. Then I got 10 tons of shit kicked out of me. Then what happened?
Because I remember as a kid watching John Brown School Days, and they showed boarding school, and it didn't look like the nicest place to be.
No, it wasn't.
So when you when you reach a certain age, what is it, 15, 16, do they give you your own flat and then you move in?
No. It gets a little bit deeper than that. So when I was about, I think it was 12, 13, I stayed there till. And then what happened is I was put up for adoption or fostering. But my mum put a clause on the adoption, and it was only allowed to be fostering. By this time now, I met a guy called, who come down to see me, because you get vetted. I'm sure foster people who are watching this, they understand it. You have to see if you like the person that you could possibly be living with. And the person who fostered me, happened to be the leader of Lambeth Council, a guy called Robin Pitt.
Okay, so this is Rob Pitt, yeah?
That's Robin Pitt, yeah, that's my foster father, who actually was a better father to me, brought me up. Him and his wife was the deaconess of Westminster Central Hall. So if people know the theatre down London, the big theatre, well, she was the deaconess of that with a guy called Mr. Tudor. But anyway, I ended up being fostered to them, and I ended up staying with them for a little while. And while I was with them, people must see me with a limp, and they must think, some people think Peter's got polio, Peter's got, you know.
Was that the incident with at the roundabout?
No. I did have an accident under the roundabout. That was a way back. But where I'm coming from now, I actually was a roller skater. I got into roller skating, and I went outside to practice for a competition. And as I went down, the slope, my hip joints came clean out the socket.
Right.
I was into hospital in the car, which was with my foster mum. She took me to King's College Hospital. In all of the time, I ended up being in King's. At them time, there was like weights at the end of your bed and stuff like that.
And this is to sort of like pull everything back into place, yeah?
Put it into place. It ain't like now. And I ended up being in the hospital for about 6 months to try and get my legs right. I'm actually one of the worst cases that they've ever had, because they've never come across a case. Because in the beginning, as my foster parents used to see me with a little limp. That was when the roundabout, I got caught under the roundabout way back. They saw me with a little limp, and they said to me, Peter, what's wrong? Why are you limping? And I said, I don't know, because when I went to the doctor actually said, just a little bit previous, he said that it was growing up pains. So I thought it was growing up pains. So I told my foster parents, I said, it's growing up pains. But what happened when I had the accident, I had a thing called a slip epiphysis. Slip epiphysis is basically when you're growing up too fast that your hip joint, it slips out. So, but I could have fallen off a chair or anything, but because I did the roller skates, it pulled the sockets clean out the socket.
Yeah.
So basically, I was
would you say that's one of the reasons why you also don't front things, Peter? Yeah.
Because obviously I walk with quite a bad limp. I always walk with cane. I used to walk with two. I'm actually meant to have two, but I actually just live with one. And I suppose, it's because of who I am, what other people think, seeing me with two crutches. And I've had so much work done on my hips that I've even been told by my surgeon after all the works he's done, there's no more he can do for me. So there could be a chance where it gets so bad, because they still feel that my hip bone is still growing, believe it or not.
Okay.
At the age of 50, they still think it's growing because I had two major operations a little while ago, and my surgeon said, Pete, I'm sorry, if I go in any more, then I'm going to just basically, your legs are not going to be able to handle it. So he said, there is a good chance that you could end up in a wheelchair. So basically, going back, that's because I'm going back forward, because you asked me about my legs.
Yeah, I get that. Because the thing is that once you've come out of hospital and you're going through this, I mean, was music your way out?
Well,
was music your escape?
I actually wanted to be in the army. And I also, being in children's home, learning how to box, I also wanted to be a boxer. My brother was actually the Southern area champion. So I wanted to get into boxing. But obviously, because of the situation, none of them really, it didn't wash. And I remember I used to pick up a couple of reggae music. You just have your little stereo. They bought me a stereo for, I think it was Christmas one time. But I used to always try and, I remember Ringo, the reggae dancehall artist Ringo from back in the day, and I used to start chatting lyrics, even down to Saxon, Daddy Sandy, Rusty. I used to try and mimic MCing. Which I got quite good at, but I never put it out on the open. So anyway, while time was going on, getting into the music, I ended up because I was in Forest. I actually lived in West Norwood when I fostered with the Pits, and right across the road from me was where Jimmy Lindsay lived. You know, the one who's Jimmy who sings Easy. Now I'm easy. He was actually my neighbour, and I used to mess about with his kids and whatever. But then after that, I ended up going to Brixton College. Brixton College. I was there just doing a continuation class. Before Brixton College, I did go to school in South London, but it was for kids that are a little bit disruptive. And then after that, because I've got to skip because there's a long story. And then basically what happened is I ended up moving. I had my first place up in Forest Hill, and then I moved back to East London. And as I moved to East London, I still got this I still started collecting a couple of tunes, but I was more on the MCing tip. And in East London now, I remember there was a place that a lot of people are quite familiar with. I used to go to All Nations nightclub, and I used to go backwards and forwards there, and I used to enjoy going to All Nations. But then I got my when I was in Forest Hill, I got my first break. I went to I ended up going to a party, and I was with a friend called Eminem, and me and Eminem would go to a party. It was a blues party, and we were just partying in there, and then I don't know what happened, but Eminem said, "Go, Peter, go and take the mic. Go, no one's talking on the mic. Go and take the mic." So I started emceeing on the mic, and a guy come up to me called Bronx, and he owned a station called Mega FM, and he said to me, "You sound really good on the mic. Why don't you come on the radio?" But at this time, I didn't really have music as such, but Eminem did have music. So we went on there for a little while. We did a graveyard slot. It was quite successful. And then, as I say, by that time now, I moved from Forest Hill and I ended up going to East London. And I moved to East London. And then again, along the way, there was another station which was called CRN. And that was with Trevor Waters, Spider T, which was Melvin, who's got the shipping place, does import-export shipping. And there was also Colin Waters. And I got a link from there to come on the station. So we went on there, we did breakfast. And again, the show went on really, really well, done very well indeed. And then along the way, there was another station that I was on, and then I think that was I'm not sure. There was another station I was on where I met. Can't remember the name of it now, but
you're not talking about Mega FM, or you just because that was Mega FM that you made.
I went on for a little while. I only went on Mega for a little while. I wasn't.
But then what happened when you met Trevor from FarmQuest then? Because that was station.
That was CRN. That was CRN.
CRN, yeah.
Community Radio Network. I was on there for a little while. It was quite good, but I was still going to All Nations quite a bit.
Because that's when I bumped into you, was around Nations time.
Yeah, All Nations. You were my cab driver.
Yeah.
We ain't getting into that. But
no.
But anyway, when I went to All Nations, I met a guy. I used to meet a guy there called Sweet G, and Sweet G used to play on the middle floor on his own, and I used to go backwards and forwards, talk to him, started jamming with him, stuff like that. And then one occasion he wanted to have a break, and because I used to look at his music and that, he said to me, "Hold the mic," and I started talking on the mic and that, and he liked the way I was talking on the mic. And I ended up being part of the fixture, coming down there every week.
You was there regular, man. You was there regular.
I was. And
I was like, you was like furniture tarotted. But then at the same time, in between that, you was doing youth work, if I'm correct, after school stuff.
Yeah, I was a youth worker for young kids and that. I was a latchkey worker. I was doing that for a little time. And then after the All Nations situation now came about, I met a guy called DJ Pugwash.
Yeah.
And from me,
is it all right if I'm going to bring Kaz into the room now? Yeah, is that cool? You all right with that, Pete?
Yeah.
You all right, Kaz, baby? Don't worry, we haven't forgotten you. We can't hear you, Kaz.
Sorry, I'm listening intently, Peter.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. There's some people are going off point. Sugar, you're going off point. I'm telling you the truth. You're going off point, darling. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, Peter. Because you was a youth worker working with the latchkey kids, yeah?
Yeah, latchkey kids, yeah. And then after that, as I say, I met Pugwash, and then Pugwash just gave me the biggest break. And I mean the break. He knew everybody in the industry, and through Pugwash I met.
Oh, we're talking about the music industry now, aren't we?
This is the music industry now.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Virgins. We're talking about the proper distributors of.
Yeah, because every time I used to go with him, so it was like a partnership. So me and Pugwash ended up doing a radio show together on a station called Unique FM. And we done so much on Unique. Pugwash and myself, we done Drive Time. We done so many different shows, and I've got to say again, maximum respect and thanks going out to Mikey Coos, because Mikey Coos gave it a break that I really needed to get to another level. And along the sides of meeting people like Usher, Chris Brown, you know, I can give you the list: Fabulous, Naughty by Nature, Joe Thomas, Faith Evans, Hugh.
Yeah, but I mean, also, I mean, you're telling them the names and everything, but the thing is that at the time, Peter, you was also going down to is it Virgin? What? Tell us some of the name of the record companies that you were going to at the time. Because you used to take me directly to those record companies and used to get records of them, and you had to promote.
Yeah, it was major. It was Sony, Virgin, EMI, just to name a few. And a lady that actually, you know, Tosh from Tosh was another guy who used to really support us on Jive Records. Tosh was amazing of what he done. Another guy called Robert Pascal. He was another guy. Semtex done a bit for me as well. So you know, I can go on the list with that. But
at the time, all the other pirate radio DJs was not getting the sort of access that you was getting to the record makers.
Some of them did. Not all of them. Some of them did. You know, the likes of people like Goody, because Goody used to work for Sony at a time, and you know. When
you mention Goody is at Supreme FM, if I'm correct.
Supreme FM, yeah. So there were certain ones of us that you know, Company Soul Sound and stuff. There wasn't just me that was getting a lot of the props. I mean,
but the difference was, Peter, was that you were handing this out to your listeners. Yeah,
I used to give a lot of stuff away, do a lot of competitions and stuff like that. Yeah, I did. But at the end of the day, you know, as it is, you know, it takes people to get you where you are. I didn't do it by myself, you know. I did.
No, I get that. But what I'm beginning to pick up is that your interpersonal skills are quite phenomenal.
Okay, well, I do try.
No, you weren't trying, Peter. You was actually doing.
Okay. But then on top of that, with DJ Pugwash, as I say, we were on Unique for a little while, and then I thought to myself, I said to Pugwash, there's a station in South London. Why don't you come with me? But Pugwash was so used to being, because it was his area, local. Pugwash was like, you know what, nah, P, I'm not on it. And I said, well, Pug, I'm going, bruv, because I need to move on. By this time, I'd been collecting a lot of music from the record companies. I had quite a lot over the years. And then I decided there was a station called FLR, which was run by a lady called Stella Headley. And it was in Deptford. And he had the likes, Mystery was on there, among loads of other DJs. And I ended up being on there for a number of time. I was there for quite a while. And then I think she sold it. And another group took them over called Fusion Group. And then I ended up doing a breakfast show on there as well. They kept me on. And I was on Fusion for quite a little while. And then, of course, things come to an end. So then I left Fusion, and then I decided to have a little break. And I started up my own little thing, because I used to go to a place.
We're talking about guest radio now.
Yes, I started my own thing because no, tell a lie. When I left there, I went to a station called Bang. This was in West London. It was called Life FM in the beginning. It's now called Beat FM. I think it's Beat. And I went there for a little while with a lady called Jennifer. And this was the time when Choice FM was sort of beginning to fold up. And I said to Jennifer, because the station was a little bit all over the place. And I said, Jennifer, I will help you to get it to a standard that people will pay attention. And I said to Jennifer, come on, we can do this. Because I've done a lot of promotions with Jennifer. I went and got a lot of sponsorship for the station.
And this is with the connection with all the record companies and that. So then, so as Choice is breaking down, so this is when you're bringing Jeff Schumann, if I'm correct, Jeff Schumann and Ivor. That's
right. Well, the situation happened is when I said to Jennifer, Jeff is no longer on the radio. Let me go and approach him, and I'll bring him on board, because me and Jeff are quite close. And this is when Jeff wasn't working no more. So I said to Jeff, why don't you come along? We've got this station up in West London. It needs so much help. You need to come. We can make this happen. And on top of that, we decided we can't just have Jeff, because Jeff was more of an all-rounder. Let's go and get Big G from Nasty Boys as well to deal with the road side of everything as well. So we brought Big G in, and we just turned the station around to people really respecting it. And as you could say, from that, then Jeff said, you know what? I'm going to approach Ivor. So he went and approached Ivor. The rest is history, because Ivor is now still there today on that same station.
So from helping Bang develop, because Bang is in Harlesden, situated in Harlesden at the time, and it also assisted Jeff. It assisted Jeff to move on from Choice FM and also make his way. But then after that journey that you did at Bang, if I'm correct, you then started to go into promotions, because you weren't just DJing anymore. You started promoting.
Yeah, I started promoting, and I did, because I had so many links. Like I'd get like the Big Brother family, for all the people that a lot of them, Donnell, Victor, and all them from Big Brother. I decided to train them up to be presenters, and I started a station called Guest Radio, which was
what you was doing at the time, if I'm correct, Peter, was that when reality TV bust onto our TV screens, Peter immediately started to engage with them.
They ended up becoming close friends. Yeah,
and you brought them onto the radio stations, and you also introduced them to presenting. Yeah,
I taught them how to present. Even one of the guys I taught to present was Will Johnson. I taught Will Johnson.
Oh wow, one of my idols.
I taught Will to present, and I also taught him how to do a little bit of mixing as well. And now he's flying all over the world. And then after, when I've done Guest Radio, I just decided to touch DJs that really need to be on an internet radio station for the internet radio station to work. And I got a lot of high profile people. There's a guy called Stuart Phillips. He's a hairdresser for the Stars, stuff like that. I got Boyd. I forgot Boyd, another guy. He was an international dancehall DJ. Him and his brother.
But you didn't stop there, Peter. You didn't stop there, because then you also went into management, because you went into management with.
Well, I actually managed. I managed a dance group called Nexus Boys and Nexus Girls. And Marla Brown was actually one of my dancers in the girls group. Marla Brown, Dennis Brown's daughter.
Dennis Brown's daughter.
Yeah, she was actually one of my dancers as well.
They also, because they used to they appeared at the Mobos, if I'm correct.
Yeah, they've done the Mobos, they've done the BBC party, and also you know, we used to do like a lot of Hackney Empire, and that's where the break came in with Hackney Empire, because I used to, because of a lot of the promotion and stuff, I used to work with Frank Sweeney and promoting Sunday, I think it was Sunday Live that they used to do, no, Sunday Selection. Sunday Selection.
That's and you also had Bibby's Rice and Peas.
Bibby's Rice and Peas.
Right.
I was helping with that as well. And then I became an in-house DJ as well, partly, where it was time for a break and all that with Roland and Claire. So I did that for a little while. And then with Guest Radio, it sort of fizzled out, because where I was, it wasn't my place, and there was just certain things that didn't really work there. Where
I think that's always one of the problems, as I remember when we were talking, that when it always comes down to the nuts and bolts, we don't own shit.
No.
You get me? We don't own buildings. We don't own. We're always renting. We're always at the mercy of somebody else who can kick us out at any time.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But my thing is, Peter, is that despite the fact that you had lost the use of your limbs as you would not ordinarily do, you know, and despite the fact that it kind of made you kind of like step back, you still done a lot.
Yeah, I did.
Like that to you, but
I also was a part of a show that we did called the Barber Brawl, which was with Patrick Phipps and myself, and we used to get barbers from all over the UK to battle it for a trophy, and that was amazing. And they would do certain things in your hair for 3 minutes, and we put a couple of those shows on that were really good. And then
it couldn't compete with the Hair and Beauty show, though. I know you had to go. You had to go.
And then Rudi and myself did a show called the Lookalike Show. And we got loads of lookalikes, and they were amazing lookalikes down at the place called The Point. Do you remember?
The Point, that's right, yeah.
And that's where the introduction come with Louis Johnson, who used to own the races, who used to own that place there. And it was amazing. And Rudi and myself put, what was her name? Is it Wendy White? Who won? Missy Elliott.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Wendy who won Missy Elliott. So that was going on. And then I sat back for a little while, took a little bit back. And then I think I met Goody somewhere. And I've always heard of Supreme Radio. Been listening to Supreme for quite a while, and then I just asked for a show on there. I got a 1 till 4, I think it was. I did that show, and I've been on that show. I was on that show for a few years, and then they decided, Quincy decided to leave, I think it was, or something, and then they said Peter Terry would be a good candidate to do the breakfast show. And I do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday now, and I've been doing that for about 5-6 years, or no, it could be even more. And I'm doing that with a young lady who I again trained up and got her to a standard that she can actually fly the flag and go and do it by herself now. And her name's Juliet G. So she does that show with me
In fact,
as well.
see Juliet G in the mornings when I do the Rants and Bants show.
Yeah.
She's often she often pops through. But then once you got there and you settled down at Supreme, you then went over to Bojangles. We started putting on the promotions there, which was the ladies' night, the karaoke nights.
Yeah,
you know,
which is like slap and tickle. And going back a little bit, obviously I've done like loads of clubs. My history.
Oh, well, we're talking about Cinderellas. We're talking about Gullivers.
Gullivers. Yeah. I've done Gullivers. I've done All Nations. I've done Slap Harrys. I've done Bootleggers. I've done Moonlighting. The list goes on crazy. I've done Trends. I've done Maximes. I've done La Prison. I've done Palm Trees. I can go on loads more.
Yeah, but I want to bring it up to where you're currently at now, which is because the slap and tickle and the what have you. There was a question in here, actually, Peter, asking you about the late night show. I mean, what made you do that?
I'm going to get to that. But I also
I'm running out of time, Peter.
Okay, cool.
Friend.
That's what I'm saying. The history is long. It's half of the story that I've just said. Basically what I do now, from all the connections and these type of interviews, I've decided to start a thing called the Industry Street. And what I do is I go to high profile people that have been in the game for a very long time, and I interview them, and I find out about their journey from when they were young, and they work their way right up to the top, because normal German public would like to know these stories about an individual. People like Mystery, Fifth Avenue. I've done them. I've done Special Touch. Sorry, not Special Touch. Studio Express. Orlando Gittins, Michael Simmonds.
Tell them about Orlando Gittins. Tell them who he actually is.
Well, Orlando Gittins was the founder of. He started off. He started off Soul Town, which was a Motown type of thing, but he opened the doors for people like Mary Rose. He opened things for Everest. He opened the doors for even people like Maxine. And of course, one of his biggest artists was Wayne Marshall. He was the main. He's also the guy that's behind Giants of Lovers Rock. And I met
because that became a massive movement actually. And it brought a big resurgence to the whole of the Black British music.
Black British music, definitely.
Yeah. And he still has a lot under his belt as well. He does the Weekends Away and stuff like that. But I knew Orlando way back. And
so the question that's being asked of you, Peter, is where are those interviews and where can they be found or viewed?
If they go on to the Industry Street on YouTube, you'll find those interviews.
So it's actually called the Industry Street.
Industry Street, yeah. And then they can find those interviews, yeah.
Okay. So now, where are you at now? Tell us where you are at now.
Well, as I say, I do the Industry Street. I also have my breakfast show. My breakfast show is on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on Supreme Radio. I've just now taken on 2 shows, drive time shows on Unique FM. I'm doing that as well. And
that's another drive time show?
That's a drive time show on a Wednesday and a Friday that I'm doing that, yeah. And we're just about to open Bojangles again. We've got a gentleman in there now people might be familiar with called Andrew McIntosh. He used to have a place called Cottons in Islington. He's no longer there. He's now at Bojangles. Bojangles it's now a restaurant, and it will be open in 3 weeks' time, obviously on guidance from the government. But yeah, just fixing it up now and getting ready. It's getting ready to pop back into public life.
Because the thing is that's why I felt it was very important for people to actually know who you were, because most of your flyers and everything does not have an image of you on it. Mikey Coos always has an image of him on it. Do you know what I mean? So that people know exactly who's doing what and when they're coming out, like who's behind it. And that's why I know I had to twist your arm to get you to do Anything Goes.
Yeah. As I say, I do Anything Goes now. I'm one of the panel with Shoe Doctor, Countryman, and of course Rudi. And talking about Shoe Doctor, I actually used to be his MC down at Mingles, up in Downs, down Mingles, with the bank manager and all that.
Oh wow, Banky.
Remember Bank Manager, yeah?
Yeah.
So I used to be his MC as well, Shuey. The Shuey's done a lot for me as well. So I've got to take my hat off to him as well, because when he started.
And the thing is that in between that, while all of that was going on, you were actually bringing up your son.
Yes, I've got a beautiful boy, Kofi. There's my son there, my grandson.
Oh.
That's my grandson, Rion. And he's just blessed me now with 2 girls. I've now got my 2 granddaughters now as well, which are quite amazing. They just look so much like.
If you give me a sec, I will locate them because they're fresh. These 2 are proper fresh.
That's a lovely picture, Pete.
Thank you.
And what I didn't ask you is, what genre of music do you play?
I play everything, and I mix, and I do everything.
Okay. These are your 2 granddaughters.
They're my 2 granddaughters. I gave you another picture, Rudi.
I know, but I wanted them to see them fresh first.
Oh, that's when.
That's gorgeous.
That is literally. But this is them after they've you know when children dry out because they've been in the womb for so long.
Oh, they're just such gorgeous puddings.
Yeah, my 2 girls.
Beautiful.
So that's really roughly the story about me. There's a lot more, but obviously
there is a hell of a lot more, and unfortunately, I've only got so much time.
I know.
And I just felt it was. I just felt that you had to let your story out a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Let people understand that because Peter undermines himself a lot of the time, and I sometimes have to remind him just how brilliant he is, even though he gives me a hard time when I do so. Because there's not a lot of people can do the sort of PR that you do, Peter. To be honest with you, and it's a gift that's been given to you. You've got that silver tongue, my friend. You've got that silver tongue. But once again, people, keeping it real is having conversations with real people, and just for us to understand that we all are role models in our own way. We all affect the lives around us. We've got Kaz here, who dragged us through COVID with her 50th birthday, and we all celebrated that with her, and she kept us smiling. There's been Peter in the background, who a lot of you have been going to his raves unbeknown to yourself, because he doesn't put himself forward. He doesn't see himself. He likes to he likes to sit behind the radio mic, and I've managed to get him in front of the screen and sit down and enjoy me. But once again, Rudi Lickwood has run out of time. Thank you very much for joining me, people, and I hope to see you next week.